Hey guys, good morning. I want to talk for a second about Michael Brooks. I'll talk for a second about him. Uh, with the background of Trump refusing to uh, peacefully transfer power, and everything else is taking place as well. Um, Before Michael Brooks, I kind of had the mindset I'm back in now, to where this thing's gonna collapse. It should collapse. It's gonna run itself into the ground. Capitalism is just gonna destroy itself. Um, Michael Brooks made me give a shit. I mean, Majority Report and everything, that's cool. It's cool, but he made me understand that we have to stand together in solidarity and have an internationalist understanding of of democratic leaders that have been assassinated by the U.S. government, by our intelligence agencies overseas. Patrice Lumumba, and I mentioned him before on here, and uh, the thing in Indonesia, the Jakarta method, all that kind of stuff. He gave me a respect and an understanding. As the old saying goes, that no one is silent, but many are not heard. We have to work to change that. Yes, he made me care. Sometimes it's really tough. Working with people who don't understand and don't have a understanding of working class struggles in the past, Blair Mountain and all that stuff. It feels like the battle's already been lost for the left. And Michael Brooks, he gave us a historical reference, a reference to history and where we come from, and where we possibly may go in the future, our options, our choices. It still hurts. I still haven't really been digging into his old shows. It hurts, God, it hurts. People still talk about him sometimes and do things, and it hurts, man. I guess it hurts the worst because Michael was such a rising star, and when he died, I cried. But when he died, I learned the amount of solidarity that's out there, the amount of people that watched him and people that followed him all over the country, all over the world. And then, I go on Contact and stuff and put a comment on there about, rest in peace. And people are like, yeah, he was. I'm like, wow. Like, this dude touched a lot of lives. And I don't want that to be mistaken. I don't want that to be forgotten. I don't want his lesson to be forgotten. And I know, see, what Michael was doing, we can't get into this class. We can't get into this culture war bullshit. We can't get into this some stupid stuff Trump put on his Facebook or some, his Twitter or something. We can't get into that. That isn't our strength, and that's not a strength for us. And now I've been seeing there's ways that people have shown that when he does immoral stuff, like telling them to go back to where they come from, grab them by the pussy and all that, that his supporters, that doesn't move them. It doesn't, a lot of the country doesn't move them, and that bothers me. Because of the fact Obama was such a Boy Scout, and he had to be. And it kind of proves the point that for a black man to make it, what did Godfather say? What did shit, I forgot the dude's name. What did the dude say? He had to work 10 times harder than any white man. That's it. It's still like that. It's still like that. They don't want to admit it. Would Obama have gotten away with walking out here and saying, I'm the king of the Jews? Would Obama got out here and said, I'm the Messiah? They would have towed him up. They'd have towed him up. And anybody with a brain cell knows it. And it is what it is. That bothers me. That bothers me that that's normalized to where I can quantify and show that he uses white privilege. He uses that. He knowingly uses that stuff. It's not like joking anymore. When he told the crowd, it was in North Carolina, he was talking about Ilhan Omar is trying to tell us how to run our country. We know what that meant. It shouldn't be that blatant. It shouldn't be that plain. He shouldn't, no one should be politically, because you're setting a precedent. You're setting a precedent, and there's certain things politically I don't think are appropriate. But Michael Brooks, he helped me to understand, and it's just saying that, this idea that you had Clinton and you had the West Wing, it's all bullshit. It was never that. It's never been that way. It's just that now we're having to catch up a lot faster because Republicans are doing like 2 or 3 fucked up things in a week. It's like, whoa, they're doing this, they're doing that. RBG's body ain't even cold, ain't even in the ground yet. And Trump's talking about pushing to have her put in there again. I mean, put in a Supreme Court justice put in her place. I mean, that, to me, that's immoral, and I don't think Obama would have ever been that blatant. And we all know about the Merrick Garland thing, where Mitch McConnell said he wouldn't put forward somebody until the next president was elected, and he broke his word. I love it. They break their word every day, and it's cool because that for Republicans, that only mattered to them anyway. Like their so-called morals, that only mattered to them anyway. No one else ever cared about this stuff. Everybody else is like, hey, we want to have a society for working people. We want to have this. We want to maybe slow down the wars. That's what we don't care about that bullshit. That's them, and that's their interests. So Michael, he helped me understand that. He extolled me, or edified me, what do you want to call it, to read, to go out there and understand, and to not get caught up on the small victories. That's the point. We don't, he isn't the first person to say that, but it's important to don't get caught up on the small victories, man. Because they'll give you stuff. It's like with the Confederate flag and the Dylan Roof thing in South Carolina, and the Charleston church shooting, the Emmanuel AME, I believe. I mean, that you had Nikki Haley at the RNC saying like we got better by doing that. They didn't do that because they did that because Dylan Roof ran to a black church and killed a bunch of people, and Republicans said, okay, because he had a little Confederate flag, we're going to ban the Confederate flag. That's what that was. You didn't do that out of, we got better. You did that because there was a white domestic terrorist shooting that took place. That's what that was. Understand it. Don't give me this bullshit that somehow you guys got better when you didn't. So they'll give you this. They'll step back, but then they'll step forward 3 or 4 spaces. He just gave me a conceptual understanding of class and where I stand and where we all stand, and what the fight should really be, and where we should be at, and what our mindset should be, not to be caught up. As he said it, we can't let socialism become a plaything for the rich. We can't let these protests get subverted down to PC politics, and you got to call black people an African American. We can't let it. It's got to be more than that. When this ends, when Trump's out of office or whatever, we have to look at this stuff as being more than that. That the struggle was for more than that. It's got to be that. Because if not, it's a waste of time. If not, it was all violence. Y'all know my position on all this. And it has not changed. I don't think it will change. Trump did much of what I wanted. For me, if you're a Lincoln Republican, when exactly did you turn against our foreign policy? Because of Trump? Because Trump said grab him by the pussy, or because Trump called somebody Pocahontas? No. So you were okay with torture. You were okay with waging wars for 20 years on the basis of a lie. You were okay with the kidnapping, aka rendition. You were okay with the black sites. You were okay with going after Snowden and calling him a traitor, when now we know everything he said was true and what they did was illegal. He was right to do what he did. You were okay with all that, but you're upset with Trump. Excuse me, because he made some comments. No, I ain't selling that program, bro. You know, this once again, this idea, and this is Michael Brooks, that Obama was leading us into a socialist utopia, and we're post-racial nation, and then Trump came in, who's a mean man. No, I'm not. No, bro. No. A, you're wrong. B, you're making it to where we cannot criticize people who need to be criticized. That's the problem. We got to be serious about these messages. And Michael Brooks, he made that very clear. Very clear. You know, you can get so caught up into the... Honestly, that might be a part of Trump's swag. To do so much dumb stuff and racist stuff, that we're caught up on that, and we're not caught up on the serious destruction he's doing that will last for years to come, decades to come. That might be a part of it. I don't know. I don't think he's that smart. So, to me, you know, my hope was Trump would destroy NATO. My hope was that Trump would create instability and he would make the world really distrust America. That was my hope. And he's done it. He's pulled out the WHO, which that's tragic. I will say that. I watch those guys sometime on YouTube, and it's like looking at an old man that no one's listening to anymore. And it's just it's sad. To me, that's tragic. But this is a part of a failing empire. You know, if you don't rub my belly and tell me I'm a good boy, then I'm going to take money from you. That's what an empire does. It goes back to the mindset that America doesn't owe anybody anything. We don't need. That's what that is. That's what that mindset, and it's irrational, and it's irrational, completely irrational, that mindset. So, but that was my hope, and for the most part, Trump has delivered on that. He really has. You know, I don't want to go back to the way things were before the pandemic. I don't want the status quo. I don't want Obama fucking 3.0. You know, it bothers me that we talk about black lives, but black folks don't talk about Obama's involvement in the assassination of Muammar Gaddafi. See, that's why nobody takes Black Lives Matter seriously. Because when you have real threats to black power, you do nothing. Yeah, Eric Gardner was a tragedy. Of course. Of course that was tragic. Of course that should not have taken. And the dude ended up not even doing any time behind it. That was a tragic story. You know, and it's also, well, stay on subject. I just felt like, to me, Michael Brooks, a great guy. You know, if I have children one day, they're going to listen to that. It's crazy that so much of what he talked about, like, it still has value, and it's still going to have value in the future. He's talking about integral theory, and I need to get it. I need to get out of the funk I'm in and dig down on this stuff. Because he was a great guy. He was a great guy. He was doing great things. And like so many people ahead of their time, you know, they go out. So tragic. You know, he didn't die in a car accident. He died of a fucking blood clot. You know, I don't know. Thank you for listening.